Gentlemen, welcome to Halloween Daily, where every day is Halloween. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking to us today.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I watched Consumed last night, and I loved it. Great job. I'm always excited to talk about a new creature feature and kind of the cryptid subgenre here, and that's what we've got here. Um, I'm curious though, because it feels like it's been a little while since you guys have teamed up on a Butcher Brothers production. What was it about this project and this script for each of you that really spoke to you and made you want to get together and tackle this Wendigo movie? And I guess Mitchell will start with you.
Okay. Well, it's funny. We've all Phil and I have been working together quite a bit. It's just as life kind of throws things at you. You kind of do this and you get busy on that or whatnot. But I think this specifically for the Butcher Brothers name to really pop. We just really believed in the story. David Calvert wrote this amazing script that we really felt that was something that we could really champion behind, it just had the makings of the style of story that is really really on brand with the Butcher Brothers.
Yeah, I'll just add, Mitch and I got on the phone. We were talking about this project that was coming up, and he's like, I'm going to be in the forest for several weeks, abandoned, in the middle of nowhere with Devon Sawa. And I'm like, I'm in, let's go. And I think it was just an opportunity, like Mitch said, we love working together. We have different life stuff always going on, but it was an opportunity, especially right, after the hump of the pandemic. It was like, let's get out and shoot something, and let's get the band back together and see what we can do. And there are so many names involved, from Devin to Miguel Litton-Menz, the DP who shot Vast Night, Courtney Halverson, who's known for plenty of television work. It was really a dream team, so it was a fun experience.
And it's a wild experience to watch, and of course we're glad to have it here. I felt an old school influence, kind of the less is more when it comes to the creature, and kind of slowly revealing and not giving away too much until maybe the time's right. Very much kind of the Jaws idea. Maybe you can speak a little bit on that, and avoiding the temptation to go a little too overboard too early, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered it almost, where the Jaws was a huge inspiration for this story on the directing side. And I know David, the writer, was very much inspired by that, and also films like The Descent and whatnot, where it's like you kind of really take your time with it. And for us, you're right, the temptation is always there. You're always kind of looking at it going like, should we, and I would say we even had scenes where we shot that showed a little bit more that we decided against in the editing room. But at the end of the day, like you said, we want to have this kind of classic throwback style creature feature, yet the idea behind it was balancing with this kind of strange world where you're not really mature. Is the creature real? Is it really this woman's battle with cancer? That's, is it just in her head? Is just something going on that we just don't know? And same with Devin, who his character is dealing with loss. Is he even seeing the same creature? Is he just seeing something that is maybe not, are they hunting like something totally different? So we really want to bring that experience out from this movie. But at the same time, you could sit down, and if you're really not paying attention, you could still have a fun creature feature experience. Yet I think if you really engage and really watch what it is, it really is just the fight with cancer, which David, who wrote the screenplay, that's really what it's based on. He with personal battles and whatnot, he really with a family member, you know, the Wendigo is this great metaphor for what he felt like was this, you know, this battle that he wanted to express.
Absolutely. And I was going to say that I totally got that it's working on multiple levels. And obviously, you know, there is that metaphorical aspect of what's going on. And I really appreciated that too. And I thought that was another wise choice to keep the creature, you know, for the most part, very kind of, you know, in your mind, and you're kind of envisioning it like maybe they are, like you said. But on another level, it does deliver the creature feature goods and the gore and everything that the horror fans, of course, are looking for in that department as well. And so in that respect, I wanted to ask because you do have a very interesting creature design and look ultimately. Can you talk just a little bit about what went into that, kind of some of the conversations? Because again, it's kind of a unique take on not really a creature that I can think I've seen before exactly.
Well, I'll start real quick. You know, Phil was a huge part of that. He really kind of watched over the design teams and whatnot. But that's exactly what, you know, it really came from the description from David's script, where when you reading it, the description was like so odd. And again, it goes back to what we just discussed about, you know, it really, you know, it's the Wendigo was really more of just, okay, this is where it falls into, but it's really this this battle that's happening and with Courtney's character. And I think we just want to kind of reflect that. It's almost like what it is the Wendigo, but really what she came up, you know, what is she's kind of seeing in her mind mixed in with what Devin's character kind of explained to her. But I'll throw it over to Phil.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think like Mitch said, David, I think even early on, he had a specific idea in mind. I know that he came to Mitch and he was saying, "Hey, should we go practical with this?" And that was a big idea early on. And that's, you know, practical is how it came into set, and we stuck with it the entire time. And Jim Ojala, is that right? Ojala Mitch, yeah, his team, wonderful, wonderful creature makers. Um, and just, you know, the idea of like, again, it's this analogy of cancer. So it looks like this beast that's cannibalizing itself almost. And if you read any of the old Wendigo legends or lore, you know, depending on where the source is, a lot of it comes from this ashen skin deteriorating creature. We added a little bit more to it because like there's a little bit of cosmic horror in this film. I think there's a interconnectivity between the gore and the mentality. So that seemed to be a perfect bridge, and that's how the creature found its space.
I like that. Yeah, and I can see that, you know, thinking about that and because I don't know a ton of the mythology around the Wendigo, but from what I've heard, that certainly makes sense. And then you mentioned the gore. Of course, I got to talk about that. There is some, you know, again, it delivers the horror goods. Can you talk just a little bit about keeping that it looked mostly practical and just very visceral and grounded, but very gory, I would say, in certain sections.
Yeah, I mean, we are the Butcher Brothers, so you know there is a responsibility that we have to deliver. I mean, you know,
Right.
we've had movies like our like The Violent Kind, our Sundance movie, which is like once we hit that level of just, you know, insanity and gore, you know, we gotta make sure that when people watch our films, it's like, okay, they're still the Butcher Brothers. They haven't like gotten older and a little bit more, you know, gentle and like we're still crazy guys that you know. And so that was one thing. But I think, as you said, you know, we just don't do it just to do it. I think it's when it lends itself, you know, we go in there and we felt, you know, again, not to beat a dead horse here, but, you know, when you go back to the cancer thing, it's such a brutal, you know, it's such a brutal disease. We've all kind of dealt with it. And, you know, so that also kind of, you know, you sometimes you're like, look, it is gory, it is brutal, and we want to reflect that.
Definitely. Excellent. Well, again, I love the movie. For our last minute or two here, if you'll indulge us, as you can see, every day is Halloween for us. So we always try to ask a little bit about just what the holiday itself, Halloween, means to you guys. Do you look forward to it now with your families and celebrate? Do you have warm memories growing up celebrating Halloween? What can you each tell us in just our last minute here about Halloween itself?
I think every day is Halloween, just like ministry says, you know.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, that's the deepest Americana folklore we have. I think that's true. So all things great should arise from Halloween, monsters and masks and identities and, you know, candy and sugar and highs and lows, you know, and community. So I don't know.
It's and you know, Phil and I, we grew up in South San Francisco, which is this like really blue collar, small city outside of San Francisco, which is, you know, actually, you know, like 20 minutes away from San Francisco. But we were also, so where we're at, it was also an area that had all the cemeteries of people, because in San Francisco, there's no room for cemeteries. And so that's where we grew up. And so Halloween always had a special, you know, especially being teenagers, that to me, right, you know, when you watch these kind of coming of age horror movies and Halloween, like, you know, like I just love when Halloween rolled around as a teenager, it was just the funnest time. Like those are my fondest memories of like thinking back, us, you know, being punks growing up in South City, running around in cemeteries. And I don't know, when Halloween rolled around, it was just amazing. And yeah, as you could think, you know, and then all of a sudden we became the Butcher Brothers. So it kind of makes sense.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Great answers all the way around. You're definitely among like-minded individuals here at Halloween Daily, and you're welcome anytime. Well, guys, I know you're both super busy today. I totally appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. The movie's awesome. And instead of saying goodbye, since every day's Halloween, I always just wrap up by saying Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.